Hi, Nancy here. When I was 25 years old and 5 months pregnant, my husband tried to kill me. I survived because I pretended to die. But that wasn't the strangest part of the story. Years later, something happened that made me question everything I thought I knew about life, fate, and the possibility of past lives. At the time, we were living in San Juan, Puerto Rico. My husband was a doctor doing research on split brain studies. I was young, pregnant, and very isolated. We had no phone in the house. I had no car. He had the car, the money, and the power. One day he walked into the room angry. Suddenly he began throwing me around the room, and then his hands went around my throat. You could hear my throat responding. He started to strangle me. I could feel the pressure tightening. I remember thinking very clearly, this is how I die? Then something instinctive happened. I stopped moving. I let my body go completely limp. I pretended I was dead. Eventually, he released his hands. He didn't check on anything, and this was a physician, and I survived. I left as soon as I could with my daughter. I divorced him, and I focused on protecting my daughter and rebuilding my life. Several years later, I was living in Peekskill, New York. I had begun exploring meditation and spiritual questions. It led to that. One day, a friend had just learned a technique she called past life questioning. I didn't believe in it, but I agreed to try. As I relaxed into a very deep theta state, something strange really happened. I saw what felt like a movie playing in my mind. I was a 17-year-old Romanian gypsy woman. I worked in a traveling circus, reading cards for people. One evening, I walked my best friend back to her tent. She was a young woman with dwarfism. After she went inside, I encountered the lion tamer. He asked me to read his palm. I refused. I couldn't stand him. Suddenly, he grabbed my throat and strangled me. As I died, I remember making a vow. I will come back and stop him. When I came out of the meditation, I told my friend, but honestly, I didn't think it was real. 2 years later, a new friend visited my home. She was an award-winning artist. On my coffee table were about 30 Polaroid photos. She had never met anyone in them except me. She picked one up. Then she pointed to a man in the photo and said something that stopped me cold. She said, I see him as a lion tamer, killing a young gypsy woman by strangling her. The photo she was holding and pointing to the one person and about 20 in that photo was my ex-husband. That's not the end. Years later, I moved to New Jersey. There was a small shop I loved called Innovision. One day I noticed a set of beautiful watercolor cards. I asked the shop owner if I could contact the artist. She said, sure. The artist lived next town, practically next door. So when I spoke to her, she asked me over the phone, are you the teacher who teaches meditation and psychic development? I said, yes. She asked if she could attend my class. I told her, of course you can. If you bring a box of your beautiful watercolor cards, I want to buy them. When she walked into my class, I knew who she was. She was the woman who reminded me of the dwarf friend from the vision. And we've been friends ever since. So what really happened? Was it a past life? Was it coincidence? Was it something else entirely? I don't claim to know the answer, but I do know this. Sometimes life gives us experiences that challenge everything we believe about reality. And sometimes surviving terrible things opens the door to a deeper understanding of life. If you've ever had an experience you couldn't explain, I'd love to hear your story too. Share it in the comments and let's all share. Have a great day. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't, and thank you for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.